Konnichiwa, hello and welcome to Japan. And we're now at Fuji International Speedway for the second last stop of the 2015 Audi R8 LMS Cup. The motor racing may be still at the early ages in some part of Asian countries, but it's definitely not the case where here in Japan, especially in Fuji. Built in early 1960s, the Fuji International Speedway hosted the first Japanese F1 Grand Prix as early as 1976. The unique layout and the stunning location have been drawing fans and drivers all over the world alike ever since. And talking about the qualifying yesterday, Alex Young set the fastest qualifying time and will be starting from pole position alongside Marchi Lee. We wish all the drivers safe racing. And now it's our time to cross over to our commentators.
Thanks, Sophie. Lovely day here at Fuji International Speedway. Of course, a circuit, as Sophie explained, with a storied history of motorsport that dates back for more than 50 years, which you don't quite expect from the Asian region, but certainly a lot of history in Japan, a lot of history in the motoring industry in this area. Graham Harvey, nice to have you alongside again, and beautiful weather, not too much sun, but very nice.
Yes, good morning, Sean, and hello everyone watching us around the world on our live streaming. One of the iconic tracks around the world. It's going to be a great day. 6 guys, or in fact Rahul Fry as well, 26 points in the top 6. It's going to be a great day's racing.
Throw down to looking at what happened last time out from Sepang in Malaysia. Heading into the penultimate weekend of the 2015 season, the top 6 drivers are separated by just 27 points. Defending champion Alex Young tops the drivers' classification leaderboard with 101 points, thanks to his victory in round 8 at Sepang last month. Young is one of 7 different drivers who have stood on top of the podium so far this season, and despite having clinched the most number of race wins, the Malaysian lies just 4 points ahead of his closest challenger, Chinese motorsport star Frankie Cheng. After podium finishes and victory during the Cup's first ever triple header in Taiwan, Cheng continued his charge up the leaderboard with 5th and 2nd place finishes in Sepang and is keen to challenge for the top spot. Series newcomers Thomas Fjordbach and Aditya Patel are tied for 3rd on 90 points. Fjordbach's highlight was a win in round 7 in sweltering conditions in Taiwan, and while Patel is the only driver in the top 6 yet to take an outright victory, the Cup's first Indian driver has shown consistency this season that has put him into strong championship contention. Hong Kong's Marchi Lee rounds out the top 5, with the 2012 champion having scored his first victory of the year last month in Malaysia, while female Swiss GT specialist and fellow round winner Rahul Fry is currently 6th overall. Meanwhile, Korean driver KOU finished 2nd in his home race and is on the hunt for another strong weekend, while Japan's Ryo Fukuda is back for his 2nd Cup start this year, and the former F1 test driver will be eager to take advantage of the home support. It's all shaping up for another epic weekend of racing for the popular one-make category as the drivers resume a championship challenge which is certain to go right down to the wire at the season finale in Shanghai. Beautiful circuit here, Fuji International Speedway, and of course it's a speedway by virtue of the fact built in 1963. It was originally scheduled to be a NASCAR circuit. Of course, NASCAR's an oval track. They built the first banking, which is way down the end of turn 1. We're looking at the 16 turns here, the 4.563 kilometre circuit, 1.5 kilometre long main straight, which is an incredible long straight, one of the longest in the world in fact, and certainly the longest in Asia. From there it's relatively straightforward. In fact, 1/3 of this lap is the main straight, and then from there another 15 turns. But originally designed in 1963, they did run some oval track competition, but only designed the first bank turn, which then continued on into a road course design and was modified in the late 60s after some pretty big accidents, because it ran from the very long main straight down a hill and then up into the bowl, and that was pretty notorious. So they decided to do away with the bank turn, not completed into a NASCAR circuit, despite the fact they had an IndyCar race here at one stage, which was won by Formula One world champion Jackie Stewart. So it has a very long history. But here this weekend, of course, World Endurance Championship, the WEC, we're driving alongside. But we're going to go from there. So we're heading down to Mark Dreyer with Going down to Sophie Rather with the head of Audi R8 LMS, Renee Koneberg.
Hi Renee, welcome to the show again. We're now at the Fuji International Speedway, and we know that there are only 4 races left on the calendar for this year's race. So, what would you like to expect to happen today?
Well, I think now the champion race is on. So what you will see is that everybody's trying to collect points, and championship is very close. We have Alex Young obviously in the front. We have Aditya. He would be the first Indian driver who would win. For Alex, I think is a big thing that he might be able to win twice. Then we have Cheng Chong Fu. Oh, I think he's really up and really eager to win also this year. And there are still some other contestants there. We have Margie Lee. Yeah, you shouldn't count them out. We saw it from last race. And we have still Alex, Rahel. Rahel is still also there. So I think we will be seeing a very, very good race, and everybody will try to finish and collect points.
Yeah, it seems a very competitive race this year, and everyone is hungry for the title. And now it's our time to cross over back to our commentator.
Thank you, Sophie. And as you see, Mount Fuji in the background. And yesterday, we had a great session of qualifying. Alex Young finally made it to pole, first time in 2 years, and his nemesis Marchi Lee is on the front row as well. KOU's P3, and on row 2 as well is Sean Thong. Aditya Patel, he did qualify 3rd but got a penalty and he starts at the back of the grid. Row 3 is Frankie Chen and Rahul Fry. Then it's Stefano Montesi from Ru Fukuda, followed by Thomas Fjordbach, and Jeffrey Lee is in the top 10. Now for the amateurs, well, Alex Au is in P11 from Andrew Kim of Korea. Johnson Huang is 13th with Daniel Bisky in row 7, followed by Kevin Chen, David Chang, and Vincent Florindo from Philippines, and there's Aditya Patel who's from the back of the grid. And I think last time as well, he actually he started at the back last time in Sepang and saved his way through the field.
He did. He was only expecting to make it maybe to the tail of the top 10 and got up to P4 in the end. So that was a very impressive drive, but he doesn't want to make a habit of doing that, because you wear your tyres up, you wear out, you push to pass, and on a straight of 1.5 kilometres in length, your push to pass can disappear very, very quickly. In fact, some of the drivers were a little bit concerned that perhaps they may need to use a couple of them in a lap. We'll explain a bit more about push to pass shortly. But before then, we're going to head down to Mark Dreyer down in the main straight there with the drivers, with reigning champion Alex Young.
So leading the championship, it's hard to believe that this is your first qualified pole position in 2 years. Presumably you've done all the hard work already.
Yeah, the last couple of years I've had to let my racing do the talking. So it's finally good to get one in the bag in a proper qualifying session to put it on pole. But you're right, I'm still looking for the championship, obviously. I'd love to win it again this year. So I got to think about tomorrow's race as well. So even though I'm on pole, I'm using my used tyres for this set, so that I can have new tyres for the second race, not tomorrow, for the second race. Because hopefully I'll be carrying a weight penalty for the next one.
All right, good luck today, and we'll speak to you later. Back to you guys upstairs.
Thanks, Mark. Maybe someone should tell Alex Young Movember is a couple of weeks' time.
They call that manscaping, don't they? He looks a little bit more like Max Biaggi this weekend. He's got plenty of facial growth, but no, it suits him. It's certainly a little bit of added style, and we've seen a lot of style this year from the reigning champion and current points leader. We should look at the points just to see where we're at in that regard. Yeah,
well, Alex Young is actually leading after the 9 rounds, and he is 4 points ahead of Frankie Chen, followed by Thomas Fjordbach, Aditya Patel also with Fjordbach on 90 points, Marchi Lee's on 81, Rahul Fry 74, so there's about 26, 27 points between the top 6, and there's 100 points up to grab, so it's all to play for with 4 more races to go. And just to remind you, we've got 5 more minutes before the race starts.
And before we head down to the start of the race, let's go and have a look at the onboard camera and telemetry used to make the drivers a little bit quicker around these circuits.
Well, this lap's actually better here because you...
But I use a higher gear.
Yes, this morning you were using 3rd and now using 4th.
Yeah.
You can see the difference, eh?
camera position will show the position of your car relative to the position of somebody else's car. So if you can see that somebody else is actually 1 meter a bit further this way, you should be 1 meter this way. So it's a very useful tool for showing them where the proper line should be.
We're able to align the two videos from two different cars or two different laps of Kimi's together, and you can just select the laps and have a look at them. So it makes it really easy for us to see, where he's gained time and how he's done it.
It's most important when you're on the brand new track, so you don't know, basically you never run there, and then the data they will tell you everything. Also they can compile your lap and other top drivers.
He always says to me, give me my lap and the fastest lap. So he's always trying to sort of compare himself to the fastest guys.
When I'm not 100% sure about my driving line, so I check other onboard videos from, let's say, for example, Alex Young or Martin Lee, so you can compare the driving line.
When I started, there was no onboard, there was no data, you just had to rely on the driver. And when it came along, you thought, I don't need that, but it's actually really useful. You can see where on the track you're making mistakes. So it's really, really important. You need to focus on the corners that you're having a problem, and within 10 minutes, you know the answer.
There weren't very many people that ran in the first session that went faster in the second session, and he was one of them. It's got to do with him spending time doing this.
Another important point is to check where my braking points are. So I use the video for setting reference points on track, and then I always check here. The green line is when I'm on full power, so the point when I'm fully accelerate again. As a driver, you don't always want to show everything, right, to the others. So, but in the end, it's fully controlled. I mean, you can't lie about anything.
The driver has to think twice before he blames somebody else. And their perception of what happened sometimes is very different to reality. So, yeah, the camera also shows this up sometimes.
That's a great little feature, that. As you can see, we're about 2 minutes away, and on the front of the grid is Alex Young on the left-hand side. Marchali has got that extra 50 kgs on the right-hand side, so when you've got 15 pushes to passes, Sean, if Marchali knows he's 50 kg heavier than Alex Young is the leader of the series on 101 points, and he's 20 points behind Alex Young. What do? Do you just think, well, okay, he's going to go off into the sunset, or do you just keep hammering that pushes to passes from the start and try and keep up with him?
Well, the big concern from the drivers, because of this 1.5 kilometre long straight, it's a third of the lap. Now, there's an opportunity. Push to pass, if we have a very quick explanation, is an additional 50 brake horsepower for 10 seconds. Can only be applied at full throttle, and they can keep pushing that button, but it's limited, as you said, Graham, to 15 hits. If they use it too much off the start to try and get a jump, then their opponents might be able to use it later in the race to get that position back. But certainly off the start, there'll be drivers going to use it. They've got to be careful of some of the drivers behind that might not actually finish in the top 3 result, don't have a weight penalty, we'll explain that too, but they might punch through to the lead on this long straight and dive into the front pack. There are all these things they've got to think about. So the big concern from the drivers was making sure if you see another car next to you start to jump, you're straight onto the push to pass so you don't lose that advantage. So it's really going to be a lot of strategy here at Fuji.
And also, if you're right behind Frankie Chen as well, like KOU and Frankie Chen behind Marchi Lee, you've got to work out whether you go left or right, because if the car in front of you is slower, then you want to get the jump from the start as well. So watch out for as you're looking now, the right-hand side of the grid. Marchi Lee's in that little black car in P2. He has the 50 kg weight, which is going to handicap him off the start, and all the other cars behind him, they're going to have to either work out whether to go left or right to try and get down to turn 1 and keep tabs on Alex Young.
Absolutely, there is a lot to consider also. The ideal line into turn 1. Now, it's a fairly wide run into turn 1, but the speed's down from, they're doing 272 kilometres an hour this year, which is 9 kilometres an hour up on where they were last year, which is actually, according to the engineers, due to temperature. It was 8 degrees warmer here when they ran middle of the year in summer, the peak of summer last year. So it's having a big change on the outright speed of the car. So you're going from 272 kilometres an hour down to second gear, 65 kilometre an hour right-hander, and typically it funnels. So you're going from the long straight very wide into a very tight, slow right-hander. So the other thing to watch is your rear vision mirror as you take position. So it's going to be very interesting.
And also the overtaking here, you've got to look at turn 3. I guess you've got to set yourself up and get yourself close to the guy in front of you at turn 1 and follow him through and try and overtake turn 3, or set yourself up around 100R and you've got the hairpin turn 6, or maybe got that tricky from turn 10 to turn 16, trying to keep tabs with the guy in front, slipstream him, and try and get him down this long home straight as well. They're the main areas for overtaking here at the Fuji Speedway, as they are now just setting themselves up, getting the tyres warm. There's the iconic Mount Fuji in the background, and we are going to be going racing fairly soon. It's 16 laps today, 1-6, and Alex Young hopefully will be in his head thinking he'll be leading every single one of them.
Well, he's got the champion. He's the reigning champion. He's got the championship lead. He's won 3 races this year. Now we have to just categorise that, because race 2, of course, we only got 3 laps in, so he's categorised as the race winner because we had debris on the circuit, an issue that stopped the race. It was red flagged. We re-ran that race essentially at Penbay, but because we'd run 3 laps, it was classified. So essentially he's a 3-time winner, but he is actually the only dual winner this year. There has been 7 winners, however, this year, and it's been very competitive, but his championship lead isn't great given the fact he's been quite dominant, but of course he did miss a round.
And that's the reason why Audi R8 LMS Cup is so good. The cars are almost identical. It's the drivers that make a difference, and it is so competitive that the top 6 are separated by about 27 points. So they come in 2 by 2, and hopefully the safety car is just going to peel off down the pit lane, and Alex Young will take control of the field. And of course you've got KOU right behind Marchie Lee. What is he going to do? He knows Marchie Lee's got the slower car because of that extra 50. Here we have the start. Alex Young bringing them down nicely. They're in a good formation here. We're just going to wait for the lights to go off. No, this just seems to be not a good formation there. Looks like the back markers were not... Oh, and we're off. Well, the stewards have decided it is now race time here at Fuji, and Alex Young is off to a flyer. Here comes KOU, and also on the one outside there, coming into turn 1, Alex Young takes the lead. Now, there's all braking and all mayhem round the corner. Rahul Fry's trying to look good. There's a little clash on the back markers as well. So it's Alex Young in the lead from KOU. Marchie Lee, obviously with the slower car, has dropped all the way back to about 6th, 7th place coming into turn 3.
Frankie Chen got a good start there. He's in position number 3. KOU's been very racy this weekend, the South Korean driver. Very impressive. But at the front of the field, it was Alex Young who got the win out of that. Marchie Lee has been the big loser. Very impressive last time out at Sepang. See him in the grey car there? And he is doing a great job. So position number 7 at the moment. And he has Rahul Fry right alongside him. So they're both race winners. In front of them, Thomas Fjordbach. He really needs a good weekend, this one. But the race at the front between KO and Frankie Cheng for position 2 there, that looks like it's Frankie going up the inside. No, it's KO's got the inside. You see the Audi career car. And the car in 4th position is young Sean Tong, having his 2nd start here in Audi R8 LMS Cup for this season, but a very experienced young campaigner.
So they're making their way through this back end of the track, coming from turn 15 up to turn 16. Alex Young is in the position that he wants, and he looks like he's going to be just controlling this field through the next 15 laps as they come round to complete lap 1. Marchie Lee's dropped another place. Rahul Fry's now overtaking him to take P7 down this long straight, and Marchie Lee has got to be wondering how many pushes to passes he's got left, whether to use those pushes to passes at the start or whether he's going to keep them for the back end of the race. And now we've got hopefully an overtaking manoeuvre here. This is the battle between Ryu Fukuya and Sean Thong.
Ryo Fukuda, of course, Japanese driver, very famous, former BAR Honda test driver for Formula 1. That was 2002, but he's very quick here in opening practice. That's him on the inside, taking away position number 4. So Sean Tong drops 1 back. Sean Tong's been very experienced, been running in the Audi TT Cup this year, so has been very competitive. Behind them, the red and black car is Thomas Fjordbach, the young driver, the young Danish driver, who's been very quick this year and has won a round as well. Behind them, Rahul Fry. So it's still very close at the front of the field. But Alex Young, experienced, of course, former F1 driver, is just where he wants to be, and he's putting that TT car exactly where it needs to be to keep the opposition behind, and I'm sure keeps them pushed to pass in reserve.
So the top 3 on the second lap is Alex Young from KOU, Frankie Chen. Of course, we know people around the world also want to keep tabs on the amateur class as well. So we've got Kim in the lead from Alex Awu. In 3rd place there is Johnson Wang, Kevin Chen, Daniel Bilski, and the newcomer Vincent Floriendo from Philippines is in 18th place.
There's Stefano Matesi just on the outside there of Alex Au. That's the CTVS yellow and blue car. Immediately behind him, Stefano Matesi's been very, very quick this year. In fact, made Super Pole again. That's the number 39 car there, the white, yellow, black and red car. Immediately behind them, David Cheng. Nice to see him here. Very experienced international campaigner in endurance racing, driving the Michelin car again this weekend, because we saw him too at Penway in Taiwan, but unfortunately was eliminated in practice with not a big hit, but an accident that took him out. So from the front of the field, this is the view that Alex Young will be lapping up. Very clear track in front of him and a long straight ahead.
And statistics kind of show that if you're the pole sitter on race 1, you normally end up winning the first race of the weekend. So Alex Young, all the stats suggest that he's going to be doing quite well today. And over the line, we've got a manoeuvre there as they go round into turns 2 and 3. It is Alex Young from KOU, Frankie Chen and Ryo Fukuda, who wants to have a great day in front of his home crowd.
Last time we saw him, that was the opening round, round 2 in Taiwan, because the opening round was in Zhuhai back in March. He was driving the double duck car, the Marchi Lee car, because Marchi Lee, Frankie Cheng, Sean Tong and Alex Young, the race leader, were at the Nürburgring 24-hour race in Germany, where they actually finished 12th outright. Very, very impressive run. So they missed a round. As a result of that, other drivers like young Aditya Patel and Thomas Fjordbach worked right into this equation. Now, we talk about Patel up to position 9 from 18. So in the first couple of laps, he's taken 9 positions. But how much of his push to pass did he have to give away in order to make up those positions? So he's a little bit off the leaders now. In fact, shown in 6.8 seconds behind Alex Young. You'll see him, the number 8, red, white and black Audi sport car. And, that's Montesi's been spun around. We saw him a little bit further back than we would have expected, back with Amcar driver Alex Au. Now, that's a position move. That's Sean Tong through on Ryo Fukuda. Thomas Fjordbach, we're just talking about him. Now, here, this would be a replay. Alex Au still battling with Montesi, and that may just have been visibility. So Stefano wouldn't have done that intentionally. It would have been just that he wasn't aware that Alex Au was there. Contact ensued, and we've seen that a number of times this year, Graham. Around he went.
So 3 laps are now in the book, and it's still Alex Young from KOU. KOU's just a half a second or so behind, and Thomas Fjordbach's now trying to come up on the inner to try and take the P5 from Ryo Fukuda, and succeeds. And now in front of Thomas Fjordbach, he's got Sean Thong and Frankie Chen, and there's a little bit of contact there, and I think Fjordbach just had the worst of that.
I was almost going to say that was a rude move, but it wasn't a rude move. It looked like it may have been another one of those situations where visibility wasn't there, that perhaps Fukuda wasn't aware that Fjordbach had snuck down the inside. Of course, these drivers sit very low. They're wearing a head and neck safety device, which limits their ability to move their heads left and right. Of course, that's for in case of an accident. It stops the head moving too far. So a very important safety device like the helmet, but it does limit visibility. And of course, you're sitting low. You don't know where the outside of your cars are, and sometimes you don't expect an inside move, but certainly this is the view that Alex Young will be lapping up. It's just what he needs. This is going to work very nicely into his championship lead, and I'm tipping by the fact that really KOU hasn't dropped too far behind, that he's kept a number of push to pass in reserve. It's getting very racy a little bit further back. That's Fjordbach, Ryo Fukuda, Marchi Lee and Rahel Frey in the green Castrol car, the 4th of the cars in that line. Very, very close. Now, Marchi hasn't shaken Rahel, but Rahel's just come from a GT Masters event last weekend in Europe where she took victory in an Audi R8 LMS Ultra, which is just a later generation to this car. So she's had plenty of time on her hands, but also Fjordbach had a win last weekend in the Blancpain Sprint Series with his older brother Anders. So these drivers haven't been sitting stationary since the last time we saw them at Sepang. They've all been very, very busy.
So with KOU in second place, I'm sure that he's just watching Alex Young, trying to work out if there's any weaknesses around these 16 turns. And if you are KOU, you don't really want to kind of burn up your tyres at the moment if you're in a nice little kind of groove, so to speak. And then we've got a manoeuvre again. This is Marchi Lee on Ryo Fukuda. And it looks like Marchi Lee's going to make it stick, coming through turns 2 and 3. Now, Marchi Lee's got the inside line coming round to the 100R. So if he can just keep it together, unfortunately that extra weight's told, and that Fukuda's retained his position over Marchi Lee. That's the battle for P6. Rahel Frey is actually watching there in P8 to see what goes on there. And now we've got David Cheng having a battle with Kevin Chen. That's for P13 and 14. But if you're KOU, do you just watch how Alex Young's driving the track and then wait until like 4 laps to go and then make a charge?
If you're KOU, I think you sit just where you are very happily, because we've seen KO be very quick this year, but traditionally towards the end of the race he's had a contact or there's been a slight issue and he hasn't finished. So he's further back in the championship than we would have expected to see, but very, very racy. I think I'd just be quite happy to follow the championship leader across the line if I was KO, but they're all racing drivers. We're not here to just settle for seconds and thirds. We're here to go after the win.
Okay, well, the incident between Alex Awu and also Stefan Montesi is under investigation. I think Alex Awu may just have to have a little explanation as to what happened at that turn, because Stefan Montesi, of course, did a little bit of a 180 there, as we now see on board. You're riding on the dashboard of Alex Young, and 5 laps down. KOU, very consistent. He's just half a second, always metronomically behind Alex Young, so he's obviously just pacing himself for a late charge. Third is Frankie Chen from Sean Thong. Now Thomas Fjordbach is about 4 seconds behind the leader, and now we've got Rahul Fry trying to make a move on Marchali. Rahul Fry just pushes Marchali a little bit wide there. A little bit of body work just flew off, but I think Marchali must be realising that extra 50 kg is a real handicap against all the other fast competitors and good drivers here. That's why Audi R8 is so competitive, that weight really does hold you back.
It certainly does. In fact, Rahul Frey's carrying a 20-kilogram penalty. But now we're talking about it being a penalty. It's only a penalty because it's been given to you because of success. We call it a success weight penalty or parity. So if you finish in the top 3 in any of the races, the winner will carry an additional 50 kilograms into the next race. Position 2 will carry an additional 35 kilograms. Position 3 an additional 20 kilograms. If they don't finish in the top 3 in the next race in which they carry that penalty, they won't have to carry it beyond that point. But if you're in the top 3, that's something you have to consider. So we've often seen drivers settle for second or third to avoid taking that additional weight, because it does have an impact on tyre wear, it does have an impact on the ability to get the power of the car down. 1,280 kilograms plus an 80 kilogram weight. Minimum weight for each of the drivers is the weight of the Audi R8 LMS Cup. So you'd say, all right, on 1,360 kilograms, 50 kilos isn't really going to make that much difference, but you'd be very, very surprised. And all the drivers talk about it. So when you hear us talk about this weight penalty, it does have an impact. So looking out the front of the Audi Tita Racing Team car of the #1 driver, the reigning champion and points leader, Alex Young, and he continues to lead this field as we go 6 laps on the books.
Marchali's just trying to drag their slipstream. Ralph Wright, so maybe down at turn 1 he can make a move, but still the front 2, they've been like this all the way, and there you can see the move there between Marchali. I think Ralph Wright made it stick, so Marchali still behind Ralph Wright coming into turn 3, and the 100R, this famous course, of course, has iconic turns like 300R and nets as well as hairpin. As they go around 100R, Rahul Fry's got some daylight between her and Marchali, and now Aditya Patel has risen almost like Lazarus from 18th place up to 9th, so I'm sure he's got his eye on the way Marchali is driving, and if there's anywhere overtaking manoeuvres somewhere around the track fairly soon. But as Sean has highlighted, he may have used up a lot of his pushes to passes to get halfway up the field, so maybe he's just dragging onto the coattails of the top 8 at the moment to finish the race in a good position.
Of course, the one thing we do need to consider is the way the grid is set for race 2 isn't the finishing order of this race. It is the fastest lap time. So relative to the fastest drivers in this field, that will set the grid. So the other thing they need to keep their push to pass in reserve for is a very good starting position for race number 2. So we saw Sean Thong set an absolute blinder there earlier. But in fact, the fastest lap has been classified as Stefano Montesi with a 1:42.7. That is quite significantly quicker than the rest of the field. One wonders whether or not he may have cut part of the circuit off. Now, we're talking about cutting part of the circuit off. Aditya Patel started last because he put in one flying lap. The unfortunate thing that happened during his one flying lap in qualifying for Superpole was he put all 4 wheels off the circuit. So the lap was negated. He didn't have a backup lap and wound up starting 18 in this race, and this is not what he needs. But currently, position number 9, which is where we saw him after lap 2, so he's not moving too much further forward. So you'd expect perhaps he has, and you see him just there behind Marchali. That should be the number 8 car. It is, in fact, Aditya Patel on screen, just as we were talking about him. And he has moved now onto the tail of one of his title rivals, Marchie Lee, who again is carrying that 50-kilo wet penalty. So he'll try and move forward as far as he can, but certainly been very consistent, the young Indian driver this year, and was the points leader coming into last round, but was turned around actually by Marchie Lee, if you recall, on the opening lap of race 1 at Sepang, and that forced a DNF, and that really had a big impact on his championship, and that's what started him to start rear of field for race 2. But as we saw at that stage, fresh tyres and worked his way through to position 4. Now he's back in a battle with Marchie. And it wasn't an intentional impact with Marchie, it was just off the start. Marchie was turned sideways, and unfortunately for Patel, the car standing between Marchie and the side of the track was Aditya, who righted the double duck car. Marchie was able to continue, but for Aditya Patel, that was game over. So you be careful to make a good move past, because one of the toughest drivers, you would say, on this circuit is in fact Marchie Lee. And he is, of course, the 2012 champion. So very, very interesting the way this race is going to fold out, and Aditya Patel will be very keen to move through.
And we're looking now for that battle for P8. Marchie Lee knows Aditya Patel is right behind him, but he seems to have the pace to pull away from the Aditya Patel car, the Team Audi R8 LMS Cup team. And now you are riding with Alex Young. You're on his dashboard. He obviously has the clean air and the clean track as you ride now through turn 3, and now you're coming up to 100R. These are great pictures from our host broadcaster here. As they go around, you can see how tough that 100R is coming around, and then you've got to break down to about 65 kilometers an hour down at turn 6 at hairpin.
Another passing move, that's Kevin Chen. He is battling a driver that's making, oh no, in fact that's Johnson Huang in the 51 car. I was actually going to credit that with being the 55. Vincent Florendo, who's from the Philippines, he's making his debut in Audi R8 LMS Cup, has competed in another one-make series over the last 12 months, and is a former Philippine GT star. So it'll be interesting to see where he is. In fact, if we just check where he's, oh, he's actually struggling, he's a little bit further back, position 17 at the moment, the Filipino driver. So it's Alex Young, KOU, Frankie Cheng, Sean Tong, who had set one of the fastest laps, 143.6, 142.9 for Frankie Cheng. So he's really got some good pace as Johnson Huang continues to battle with Kevin Chen, who we saw a little bit earlier in the year at Penn Bay in Taiwan. Rahel Frey is in position 7 behind Rio Fukuda. And then it is Marchie Lee ahead of Aditya Patel, and Jeffrey Lee in the second of the J-Fly cars. In fact, it should be the first of the J-Fly cars. He's the J-Fly Racing team boss. Kevin Chen, his teammate. Jeffrey Lee in position 10, and Andrew Kim, green driver, in position number 11, and the leading AM class driver. Just recently, he had his debut in the GT Asia Series, driving a Bentley. Very different car, twin turbo, 4-litre. Big car, the Bentley Continental in GT, and drove very, very well. We were very impressed with how young Andrew went, but now he's back to Audi mode, and he's taken a little bit of time to settle in this weekend, although is leading the AM class from Alex Au, who is a multiple winner here in that class. The points leader, Daniel Bilski, yesterday in qualifying, he had a power steering pump failure, and he then wound up with a fire. Now that's the car we see on screen, car 59. So he got a very poor lap time, the points leader in the AM class. He is a comfortable leader over Alex Au, but needed a strong run here. He made one start last year in Audi R8 LMS Cup. That was here in Fuji, and he had a win. So keep an eye on the Australian in the number 59 yellow and black B Quick car.
So we now have Alex Young in the lead after 9 laps, but KOU, he's still trying to keep tabs with the Malaysian. He's just 0.6 of a second behind the leader, and fairly soon he's got 7 laps to work out how to get onto that top spot of the podium. Kevin Chen and Sean Thong, they're battling out for P3 and that final place on the celebration podium, and we've got Alex Au still having a good old battle with Andrew Kim. 1 lap, Andrew's in the lead, next Alex. So fairly soon we're going to find out who's going to be leading AM class at the end of the race.
Now, interesting, we're talking about the weight penalty. Marchie Lee has just set the fastest lap, a 1:42.781. We talked about the drivers around him not making or losing time. That's probably because it seems he's kept his push to pass in reserve. That's a replay of watching Sean Tong running a little bit wide in position number 4. So one wonders whether Alex Young's done everything he needed to, hasn't used too much push to pass, apart from the start. He has, of course, 15 push to pass to use in this race. Keep it in reserve, because we'd expect that he would have a bit more distance on KO. And that's the number 55 car. We're talking about Vincent Ferrando. On the front of the screen, immediately behind him is Stefano Montesi. That is positions number 17 and 18 in this field. Now, Alex Au has gone faster, so the push to pass is being used. This is going to set the grid for race 2. 142.53 for Alex Au. We've seen 142s for Marchi Lee and also 142s for Sean Tong. So they will start towards the front of this field. Just check Sean Tong's best lap. No, it's not shown on the monitors, but it certainly was a 142. So they are going to be battling at the front of the field. Here is Marchi, who looks like he's very racy now, fired onto the back of Rahel Frey, and he'll be looking to try and take that position back, because he is still in this championship hunt, and he drove brilliantly at Sepang. It was disappointing to see that contact that he had with Patel off the start. Of course, somebody else ran into him, which turned him into Patel. It wasn't Marchi's fault. He carried on and had 2 very strong results and has worked his way right back into this championship. Of course, 2012 champion, he knows all about how to extract the maximum out of an Audi R8 LMS Cup car.
And with Alex Young gaining the 25 points for winning this round, he'll extend his lead over everyone else. Frankie Chen, who was second overall in the series, well, he is currently in 3rd place. And March leads in P8, who is 20 points behind Alex Young before the start of this race. So he knows that he's got to kind of push his way up to the field to make sure this deficit of Alex Young winning doesn't hurt his chances with 3 more rounds to go.
Looks like we might have Mark Dreyer down in pit lane. He's going to give us some insights as to what's going on and the action down there. Over to you, Mark.
Too many overtakes, but it's been a very strategic race, and I can tell you that the race engineers are gripped to the timing screens here, because, as we all know, the fastest lap from each car sets the grid for the second race of the day. We've seen some of the sort of lesser drivers in the championship standings, at least. Alex Au and Stefano Montesi set some extremely quick laps. However, some of the more professional drivers and more experienced drivers, we've often seen them save their push to passes until the closing few laps. So do expect to see some fast laps, particularly people like Alex Young possibly saving those push to passes until later in the race. So that's grid for the second race of the day. Could change. Back to you guys.
I think there's an echo in here, Sean, isn't there, somewhere? Okay, well, just to repeat that there, there's clarification there of who is on the grid for the second round here at Fuji. So still Alex Young and KOU. KO's got to work out now, he's got 5 laps to go. He needs to work out how to get past Alex Young. Maybe he's going to set himself for second place and get those points. But down, we've got this battle between Andrew Kim and Alex Au for the amateur class. And at the moment, Johnson Huang is going to be on P3. And we've got a manoeuvre here. This is now Sean Thong on Frankie Chen. He's going to make it stick come down to turn 1.
That is the master and the student. Sean Thong attributes a lot of the success he's had in his career to the man who's now behind him, Frankie Cheng. And Frankie's been very racy. He had a very poor start to this season. We saw 12 months ago in 2014, the first round in South Korea, Frankie won that, and then the season sort of went downhill. This year it's been the complete reverse. He started quite poorly, then had a round away. He missed the second round, of course, in South Korea because he was at the Nürburgring, but has come on strongly, and he fired back, certainly at Penbay. He was on the podium in all 3 races, despite carrying weight penalties. So very, very strong, and has moved right back into championship contention. But of course, this is his second start, the second round start for the year, so he knows he's not really in title contention, so he's not going to be too worried about racing him. What's important is the people he's competing in the championship against, Marchi Lee and Rahel Frey, and Aditya Patel and Thomas Fieldbach, of course, are behind him in the field. We're talking about Aditya Patel, still hasn't moved forward from position number 9, but see Marchi now all over the back of Rahel Frey's Castrol car, and he'll be looking to try and take that position away, because he won't carry any weight penalty, because it's unlikely he'll make the top 3 at the end of this race. So interesting to see how it plays out, but we're into the closing stages now. And as for KOU, well, I'm going to bet for I want points. I want to make sure I get points. I don't want to risk having an attack on Alex Young, and I would almost put money on the fact that Alex Young has not used too many of his push to pass.
So it's a nice stroll then for Alex Young. He's got coming up to 3 laps, I think, to go. He just crosses the line here as we look out of our commentary box from KOU and Sean Thong. Frankie Chen will be just in 4th place. There is Marchi Lee. He must be a bit frustrated today with that extra weight in his car, but he'll be coming back fast and furious for the second round. And don't forget, today we've got 2 races today, so don't go away. If you're watching around the world in the wee hours somewhere, go and get a cup of coffee, because we'll be back with 2 races today. So give it a couple of hours, and there'll be the second race later on live streaming as we now go back on board. These are great pictures showing you the braking zones and how they hug that little corner, making sure they get the maximum out of the tyres and the engine.
Of course, you can catch all the action, Graham. I was watching a replay. That's very close. That's Frankie Cheng and, Kevin Chen in the J-Fly car. And, of course, Stefano Montesi is trying to work his way back through the... Oh, big crash for Andrew Kim in the number 5 car. He was the AM class leader. Now, where on the circuit is that? He's going to continue on. There seems to be a bit of debris. Now, that may not be his debris. It's not a lot of big contact we can see there. Sort of back out the front of Alex Young. You can see the front left corner of the car. That will be coming back into pit lane. So that will throw the AM class leader out. That will hand the AM class lead back to Alex Au. Yeah, there's a little bit of structural damage there. The left front wheel still turning. That's a good thing. So it may have just run wide. Can't quite pick up exactly where on the circuit that is, but we'll find that out now for you as we see the race leader, Alex Young, now starting to really push, and a couple of laps now to go.
So Alex Au will be the man who will be smiling after seeing all that damage on the number 5 car of his main competitor, Andrew Kim. And let's not forget about the mechanics. They're going to have a hell of a job trying to get that all back together in a couple of hours for a second race as well.
I don't know about that. We've seen some pretty big hits in the past, and how good are these Audi mechanics? The Absolute Racing team, the B-Quick team, of course, is the one independent team this year. First time in 4 seasons of Audi R8 LMS Cup to have had an independent team come and run. It's usually run by the Audi squad, which of course is Absolute Racing. But they've been very, very efficient this year, and we've seen some big crashes, of course, during the course of the year, and been very surprised to see those cars back on track within a few hours. But of course, as you say, it's rare for Audi R8 LMS Cup to have 2 races on a single day, and we only have a couple of hours between race 1 and race 2, so they will have some work to do. But a very strong car, of course, the Audi R8 LMS Cup car.
So it looks like the front 2 have set themselves in, and this is how it's going to finish. Alex Young is on his penultimate lap from KOU. Now, as you can see, down the back, the field are fairly spaced out. In the AM class, Alex Au looks like he's going to be on the top spot from Johnson Huang, followed by Kevin Chen. That's your 1, 2, 3 in the AM class. And at the moment, Sean Thong is in 3rd place. He's 3.2 seconds behind Alex Young. KOU's just come off the pace a bit now. Alex is leading his main competitor by 1.1 second as Alex Young now comes down this long home straight to have his victory lap with 1 lap to go. He's probably got about 5 Ks between himself and the checkered flag now, and it's as you can see, they're all in Indian file coming down this home straight. Andrew Kim, as you can see, he's coming back out again. And here's the battle between the 59 car of Daniel Bilski and Vincent Florendo from the Philippines.
Yeah, Bilski's recovering, of course, from the fire, the onboard fire, and the failure of his power steering during qualifying. Wasn't a bad fire, but certainly gave the Thai team, the B-Quick team, have been very good this year. Had a couple of victories in the AM class so far. He is the AM class championship points leader coming into this weekend. He needed a good result. The last thing he needed was a very poor qualifying time, because the failure happened very early in his qualifying lap, so he didn't really record anything that was dramatically good. It was dramatically bad, if you want to put it that way, and the fire started, which only accentuated the problems as we see him lose another position. So position number 55 is going to be taken away, but it may have been that Florendo's used push to pass. Bilski may well have run out. This is his last lap, as you rightly say, but I wonder whether Alex Young has punched out a lap quick enough to put him at the front of the field. He's going to carry a 50-kilo weight penalty. He may be pushing using his push to pass, if he's got them in reserve for this lap, to card what he needs. We're not seeing any purple sectors, which on our timing monitor shows the fastest sector for that driver, or the fastest sector for the full field, in fact. Not even a blue sector for Alex Young, the race leader, and that would highlight that he's pushing hard. So KOU behind him's just had a blue sector in sector number 2. This is the final sector onto the front straight, and Graham, this will be another victory, number 4 for Alex Young.
And yet again, the pole sitter wins the race, and Alex Young, easy as he likes, wins here at the Fuji International Speedway from KOU. Sean Thong is going to be coming through to fill up the podium from Frankie Chen, Thomas Fjordbach, Roy Facudes in P6. Ralph Fry had a great ride there in P7. Marchie Lee dropped down to P8 from Aditya Patel, who rose from P18. He had I think that's drive of the day, basically, from 18th up to P9. Jeffrey Lee's in 10th. Alex Auer wins the AM class. And now we've got, we're waiting for David Cheng and Johnson Huang to come over the line. But Alex Young wins this round and it extends his lead in the overall series. And there's now 3 races to go, 75 points up for grabs. And it's going to be mighty interesting now to see who is now going to be in P2 in the 2nd, 3rd and 4th place in the overall classification here. And Alex Young, as Sean rightly says, will get that extra 50 kgs where he's going to have another race today, and he's going to have that 50 kgs right beside him in the car for the next race. So everyone else hopefully will be jumping the gun and trying to get in front of Alex Young and eat into his extended lead in the overall series here at the Fuji International Speedway.
This is just what he needed, and certainly the man who finished this race in position number 4, Frankie Cheng, is the next driver in line in the championship behind him. Now, he was 11 points behind coming into this round. Sorry, he was 4 points behind coming into this round, rather. That's my error of mathematics. And he has just gained, if we just check the points, he has just gained 13 points on Frankie Cheng, which is going to be vital in this championship because the drivers who finished 2nd and 3rd, brilliant drive by KOU. We have to signal just how good a drive that was. He ended up with some serious points. That'll jump him up the order too. So nice job by KOU and Sean Thong. They're not in this championship hunt at the front of the field. So Alex Young has gained not just a good victory, but an important points buffer over Frankie Cheng and Thomas Fjordbach, who finished in position 5. Rio Fukuda, likewise, not in the championship race, but Rahel Frey and Marchie Lee are in that battle with Aditya Patel. So all the contenders finished inside the top 9. But they'll be a little frustrated to have lost position and vital points for some of those drivers who are making a one-off cameo appearance. But certainly there'll be some celebration from the Malaysian driver, Alex Biaggi. We'll see what I mean when he takes the helmet off with that mustache and beard that he has set up. Nice result, and still very passionate about the sport. So he's done well. He started this season strongly, missed the round, of course, during the Nürburgring, had a couple of little hiccups along the way, but has come back at the tail end of this season quite strongly. And nice result too for Sean Thong. KOU, that will be a popular result for the young driver from Korea. He's done a great job too. So nice result so far, and I'm sure Hongsik will be very happy too. There he's down there with Rene Koneberg. He'll be very happy with that result too. That's a good result for Audi Korea. So nice result, and as you say, the M-Class winner, Alex Auer, that will bring him right into the championship points again. But of course, Daniel Bilski is the man that was leading from Ashraf Diwal and Johnson Huang. Johnson Huang, good points too from him. He will take 2nd in this and more than likely run to 2nd in the championship. So we see Sophie on screen. She's down with race winner now, Alex Young from Malaysia.
Alex, congratulations. And as we know, it is perfectly for you and rightly according to the plan. Was it as comfortable as it looks?
No, it wasn't. Like you said, everything went to plan. We used the older tires for this run, so we have the new tires for next run. When I'm carrying 50 kilos, it'd be a lot better with 50 kilos. Hey, dude. But it was really difficult because KU was much faster than me. And especially the last corner, 2 corners. So I was really having to be strategic with the push to pass. And I was like, 3, I only got 1 more push to pass, and I used it. And I could see him use it, but then he ran out at exactly the same time. So then I thought, okay, I have a chance here. So I was able to hold on to 1 more push to pass to make sure I could still take the win.
Thank you so much, and good luck for the next race. And back to our commentator.
Thank you, Sophie. And Alex Young giving us ideas for Movember. I may just go for the straight handlebars all the way down the side, you know, for the Movember, maybe.
You can do without that. Of course, we're looking at the race winner crossing the line, punching the air. He's still very passionate. He has a long and storied career in motorsport, Alex Young, a Malaysian driver, ex-Formula One driver, very popular in his home country, and just drove well. It's really good job. So Sophie's back down in pit lane with KOU, who finished second in this race.
KOU, fantastic race for you. And if you give you another chance, will you attack Alex harder or still really want to maintain the place to get more points?
Yeah, I think today's race is really good, really nice. I think Alex is a perfect driver, no mistake. Only one time chance and then inside attack and Alex and no problem. You inside, outside. Much better is Alex Young, best.
And I think you did everything you can do, and good luck for the next race.
Yeah.
Thank you, and back to our commentator.
Thank you, Sophie. I think KU is probably the most famous guy on track because he's actually the Top Gear presenter on the South Korean franchise, isn't he?
Yes, he is. In fact, very popular at home. We saw that a little bit earlier in the year, but as he said, we were just reiterating the experience of Alex Young, and Alex probably gave him a little bit of a sniff of a potential to run through to the lead of this race, but of course it was more vital for Alex to get those championship points and continue at the front of this field as we get down to, as you rightly say, Graham, 3 races left in this championship. So heading back down to pit lane, and Sophie will be with Sean Tong.
Wow, Chantal, coming back to the Cup, will you expect to get on the podium?
Not really, but I think from yesterday I got really good pace in qualify, and I qualified P4 in the Super Pole, and I got a small mistake. So I think overall my pace is really promising this weekend. So I was expecting a good fight, and my aim is always to win the race. But today, after fairly good start, but then I got into an incident into turn 1, then I lost out the chance of leading the race, but overall finishing on the podium in my first visit in Fuji, I'm really happy.
Thank you so much, Chantal. Good luck for the next race, and back to our commentator.
Thank you, Sophie. So we're just going to be waiting now for the podium ceremonies. As you can see, they're just getting ready, and Alex Young will be very happy indeed that he'll be on the top spot. As we say, he's extended his lead in the overall series from Frankie Chen and Thomas Fjordbach. So just stay with us. We'll be back very, very soon with the trophy celebrations. Okay, here we go. They're just getting ready for the announcements here.
In category overall of the 10th race of the 2015 Audi R8 LMS Cup. Please, a big applause for the 3rd place of category overall. It goes to Sean Tong from Team Starspeed Racing.
And here comes Sean Tong. He's had a really good drive. Only 19 years old. When I was 19 years old, I think I was still playing with my train set. He's racing his cars. That's unbelievable, isn't it?
And he's been doing it for a while. Very experienced young driver. And of course, driving in the Audi TT Cup in Europe this year. Won round 3 at the Norris Ring against the best young European drivers, the young rising stars. Of course, Alex Young, race winner. And KOU, a great result for him. I'm very impressed with that beard-moustache combination, I have to say. I think I might go home and do an Alex Young. It's very good. There's Hongsik, the team owner for KOU. Nice to see him on board and smiling. Of course, a big part of the South Korean event every year. And of course, we will have the Malaysian national anthem.
So we have the presentations, and that's Alex Young's 4th victory in the Audi R8 NMS Cup this season. So he's going to be very happy. A great record so far of 4 wins, 6 podiums, 7 in the top 5. That is championship material.
And that's how you do it, of course. Nobody's ever done back-to-back in Audi R8 LMS Cup. This is the 4th season. First year, Marchi Lee, 2012, was the inaugural champion. This Michelin boss, Patrick Diaz. You see KOU celebrating 2nd, and that is a very good result. 2nd year in, Adelie Fong from Hong Kong took the victory. And, of course, 3rd year in, the man on the top step here, championship points leader, reigning champion, Alex Young, took the victory. So he could go back to back, but there are still 3 rounds. There's still 75 points in this championship on offer. And he's only about 18 points up now on Frankie Cheng. So this championship's wide open, and anything yet could happen. So nice result, though, for Alex Young. And certainly has been the consummate professional this year. Had a little bit of a hiccup mid-season. Of course, missed the round when he was at the Nürburgring, round 2 of the championship, or event number 2 of the championship in South Korea. But he's been back and come back strongly, and this is just what he needs to put a championship together.
Now, with the second race 2 hours away, I'm betting they're not going to spray the champagne.
Oh, no, KO might. Yes, he might not get back onto the podium for the next 3 races, so who knows? But no, they certainly need to be fresh and not too hot and sticky when they get back in the car for the second of the 30-minute races that makes up the Audi R8 LMS Cup. Bit strange to see them doing 2 on a day. Oh, Alex is going to do it. He's probably had a word to the boys. We can spray it over the balcony, but please, not on the race suit, not in the face, not in the face. Let's just get on and prepare for race number 2 and see what they can do and see what this 50-kilo weight penalty, how much that will impact Alex Young. At various stages, it looked like Marchi Lee was doing quite well. Of course, the grid for race 2 is set by the fastest lap times. We don't have a list of those in front of us just yet, but of course we will have that for you before race 2 starts. And Marchi was very quick at one stage. He was the fastest car on the circuit despite that 50-kilogram weight penalty. So it'll be interesting to see just what effect that has on Alex Young. But a nice championship points buffer. He'll be very keen to try and build on that for race 2 in a couple of hours' time.
Yeah, if you want to synchronise your watches, it is now currently around 9:50 here in Japan, and the second race will be off at 12:50. So give yourself 3 hours, go and have a nap if you're watching around the world, or have breakfast, a cup of coffee, or have some lunch, and we'll be having race 2, 12:50 Japanese time. It's currently 9:50 here in Japan, so in 3 hours time, if my abacus is working, come back and you'll be able to see race 2. But stay with us, because we're going to be having the AM class trophy celebrations in a couple of minutes.
Nice result for Alex Au to work himself back onto the top step of the podium. Now, we're assuming that's the case. Of course, he got involved in that contact with Stefano Montesi, which we saw, and that was more of a visibility issue. So it may be deemed by race stewards that that was a racing incident in the true form, just a lack of visibility, and another driver diving up the inside, taking an opportunity at the moment, the opening, the opportunity there. Johnson won, moving on to the podium. I think that would be correct. No, that's Johnson there on the left of screen. I'm sorry about that. So position number 1, of course, to Alex Au in the CTVS Audi. So good result in the end. Should be Frankie Chet, shouldn't it? Was in position number 3. So anyway, good result all up. And for Alex, this won't put him into title contention, but certainly will move him up the order. Johnson Huang will potentially move into position number 2 in this championship. And of course, we have 3 races left, and still for them 75 points to try and measure out. So there's still plenty to play for as we head to the second race here today, and of course the final in Shanghai in 3 weeks' time. So your AM class podium, nice result there. Johnson won, Kevin Chen and Alex Au would take victory. We saw Andrew Kim, very happy Alex Au. He hasn't had a victory for a little while. We saw Andrew Kim have contact during the race. He had an issue during qualifying yesterday. They worked on the car all night last night. The car wouldn't actually turn left, which on a clockwise circuit, Graham's probably a little bit of a problem. Well, not all completely a problem, of course, right-hand corners with a clockwise rotation, but he couldn't get the car to turn left, and he lost a lot of pace, and hopefully that hasn't contributed, because it appears that the car has gone left, in fact, and into the barriers. Hopefully not too much damage on the number 5 car, and we will see Andrew Kim back in the battle, but certainly he was dominating early in this race and had Alex Au well and truly further back in the field, so nice result there. So very good, and we will be on to race number 2 in a couple of hours' time.
Wow, as you can see, there's such a strong engine sound from background, because as we know, this weekend the Cup is joined by a marathon 6-hour World Endurance Championship. But we're very happy to see in the first race the wins of Alex Young, and we can see new face like Hong Kong driver Sean Tong appeared on the podium as well. So please stay tuned at 12:50, and we have the second race for show this weekend?